Dear friends, I am Dr. Urmi Satyan, Assistant Professor at School of Liberal Studies, PDPU. The topic for today's discussion is Persuasion, a novel by Jane Austen. At the very beginning of the novel, the author acquaints us with two proper nouns, Sir Walter Elliot and Kellynch Hall. The first is the owner of property and the second is the property itself. One is arrogant and the other is the reason for arrogance. Both play a crucial role in the construction of the novel. The Elliot family is in debt and so their family friend Lady Russell advises them to reduce domestic expenses and also to rent Kellynch Hall. She says that the rental amount will help overcome the financial crisis. For the Elliots, Kellynch Hall is the symbol of their pride, but having no other option, they all decide to follow Lady Russell's advice. They publish an advertisement for renting Kellynch Hall and decide to go to Bath, a neighboring town. Jane Austen, as an expert in presenting human nature, showcases how the Elliots cover their drawbacks in disguise of snobbery and thoughtless mannerisms. The Elliot sisters are temperamentally very different from each other. Elizabeth the eldest is self-obsessed. Mary the youngest is self-pampered. And the middle one, Anne, is odd one out. She is wise and considerate. The plot of the novel revolves around her character. Anne is engaged to Captain Wentworth at the age of 19. But Lady Russell argues that Captain Wentworth has no fortune, and so he is not the right person for Anne. Anne gets persuaded by her and breaks off with Captain Wentworth. When the novel begins, we see that Anne is 27, submissive by nature, never acknowledged for her love and care, and so the family decides that she should be sent to Mary's place as a domestic helper. It is very clear, friends, that nobody will want her in Bath. With a subplot revolving around Croft family, the tenant at Kellynch Hall, and Mary's daughters, Henrietta and Louisa, the novel gives us a clear picture of a social milieu that comprises of snobbish, thoughtless, insensitive, and dominating people, with exceptions of very few like Anne. Jane Austen, the omniscient narrator of this novel, speaks for the working pattern of every character's mind. She introduces Mr. Elliot as a person for whom vanity is the beginning and an end of his character. And for Captain Wentworth, Jane Austen writes that he is an overconfident, sanguine, brilliant, but headstrong person. Both these male characters are subsided by the female protagonist, Anne's simple and feminine values. Anne, who was nobody with either father or sister, her word had no weight, is respectfully restored to the rights of seniority. Through the Elliot family and their social engagements, Jane Austen acquaints us to the Georgian manners, according to which people are recognized by their family names and not by actions. Physical appearance is valued over innate virtue, and a gentleman is a man of property and not of nobility. But by the end of the novel, we see that all these characteristics of Georgian era look frail when the meek and subdued Anne leaves her snobbish family and decides to start her life with Captain Wentworth, her first and final love. Anne, who had always been an object to be persuaded for one or the other reason, finally emerges as a woman of her own. She creates her identity away from her father's self-obsessed nature and the four walls of Kellynch Hall. As a concluding remark, I would say that with a mild satirical tone, Jane Austen presents a society of people who are self-surrounded and busy, thinking about their comforts, heavy choices, and petty preferences. Austen gives power to Anne, who attains glory through her actions and not through vain mannerisms of the Georgian era. Thank you.